Your escalation and de-escalation process defies physics. It both sucks and blows at the same time. If you're working 60+ hours a week and your team feels impossible to manage, I promise you, your escalation process is the hidden culprit that's destroying your business. And at the end of the day, this is probably the last thing you put in place because you can't even conceive how this would work. Think about it. You've got tickets sitting in support desk for what feels like 22 years. Your techs are playing hot potato with client problems. And every time you think you've got a handle on things, another fire erupts because nobody knows where tickets should actually go. I've coached or trained hundreds of MSPs over the past 15 years. And this is the reason why most MSPs stay stuck in operational chaos. But here's what's interesting. The fix is simpler than you think. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear framework that makes your team easier to manage and gets tickets flowing where they actually belong. Because right now, you're not running an MSP, you're running a very expensive game of hot potato with your clients' problems. Point number 1, the physics problem. Why most escalation processes are fundamentally broken. Let me paint a picture that'll make you laugh and cry at the same time. Most MSPs treat escalation like a black hole. Tickets go in, and somehow they both disappear and multiply at the same time. It's like Schrodinger's ticket, simultaneously being worked on and ignored until you open the box, or until the client calls and yells. I had a client last month, decent-sized MSP, about 25 techs. They had a P1 outage. Client's entire network was down. Business at a standstill. The tickets are getting escalated to the senior tech. You know what happens next? The senior tech asks the exact same question the junior tech already asked. 4 hours later, still no resolution. The client's losing thousands per hour and the tickets just bounce around like a pinball. Here's what the research tells us. According to industry data from SuperLogic, most organizations use a 3-tier escalation model. But here's what they don't tell you. It only works if your support engineers are actually using it correctly. And let me be blunt here, they're not. The problem isn't your people. The problem is you've never defined the criteria for when and why things move. Your escalation process isn't broken because your techs are incompetent. It's broken because you've created a system that defies the laws of physics. You're asking tickets to simultaneously move up and down, left and right, without any clear direction. I see this all the time. MSP owners come to me saying, Manny, my team can't handle escalation properly. And I ask them one simple question. Show me your documented escalation criteria. You know what I get? Crickets. Or worse, some vague nonsense about when it seems appropriate or when the techs feel stuck. Fuck all that. Your escalation needs to be as clear as a traffic light. Red means stop, green means go. There's no kind of yellowish orange in business operations. Either a ticket meets specific criteria for escalation or it doesn't. Period. Point number 2, the 3-board framework that actually works. Now let me show you something that's going to make you wonder why you ever did it any other way. I break things out into 3 logical boards, and once you see this, you'll realize how much time you've been wasting. First, you've got your Network and Security Operations Center, or NSOC. This is all the stuff that happens in the middle of the night remotely. Widgets, events, monitoring alerts, all that automated nonsense that doesn't require a human to physically be anywhere. These are your night owls, your remote warriors handling things while everyone else is asleep. Second, you've got Triage, or what I call the frontline help desk. This is everything that's rapid response in the client face stuff. I lost my icon. I can't log in. My email isn't working. These are the fires that need immediate attention, the stuff that has users breathing down your neck. Third, you've got support. This is everything else. All the other stuff that can't be fixed either by one of the first 2 teams, or it's just the things that we do in managed services that require more time, more expertise, or physical presence. Now here's where most MSPs completely lose their minds. You've got to have a way for things to move from one board to the other that makes sense. And I mean crystal clear, documented, no questions asked criteria. Let me give you a real example from one of my clients who finally got this right. They're a 30-person MSP in Dallas. Before implementing this system, their average ticket age was 10 days. That's the average age of a ticket to be completed, including wait cycles and handoffs. 10 days. After implementing the 3-board system with clear criteria, down to under 3 days. That's no typo. They cut their resolution time by 65%. Here's exactly how they did it. They mapped out every single type of ticket they get. Password resets, that's Triage. Server monitoring and alerts at 2 a.m., that's NSOC. Complex Active Directory issues that need deep dive investigation, that's support. But here's the key. They didn't just categorize, they created specific measurable criteria for movement between boards. The transformation was immediate. Instead of tickets sitting in limbo because nobody knew who should handle them, every ticket had a clear home. Their tech stopped wasting time figuring out what to work on. They just looked at their board and got to work. Point number 3, the bidirectional flow, escalation and de-escalation criteria. Here's where it gets beautiful, and this is what separates the amateurs from the pros. It's not just about sending tickets tickets up the chain. It's about having clear criteria for sending them back down. Listen, if you take and adopt this concept of tiers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, all of a sudden you can draw clear lines. You can write a narrative that simply says, if it can't be done in under 30 minutes by a tier 1 tech on help desk, it gets escalated to support. Boom, clear as day. If it can't be done in the middle of the night remotely by NSOC team, maybe because somebody has to go on site, it gets escalated to support. Simple. But here's the game changer that most MSPs miss: de-escalation. If somebody on support looks at a ticket and says, I've done the on-site part, there's no reason the remote team can't finish this, it goes back to NSOC. You de-escalate, or as I like to call it, transition back to the appropriate team. And when it comes to priority escalation, that's even more straightforward. If you've documented your priorities properly, and if you haven't, that's a whole other problem. When something no longer fits the criteria for P1, you drop it to P2. It's not rocket science. I had an MSP owner tell me last week, but Manny, what if my techs push back on de-escalation? And I said that you don't have a process problem, you have a culture problem. When the criteria are clear, there's no room for debate. It's like arguing whether water is wet. The escalation and de-escalation for boards, it's just a bi-directional line. There are criteria by which you send it in this direction, and there are criteria by which you send it in the other direction. You can map it out. It's not that hard. One of my most successful clients, they actually created what they call the escalation matrix. It's a simple flowchart that every tech has on their desk. It takes a new tech about 15 minutes to understand the entire escalation process. No confusion, no debates, no ticket sitting in purgatory for 22 years. Point number 4, why this changes everything about team management. Now here's the part that's going to blow your mind. The reason your team feels impossible to manage isn't because they're difficult. It's because they don't know where to put their focus. When you implement this system properly, something magical happens. You can walk into your morning meeting and say, where do we focus today? Frontline support, network operations, support. And everyone knows exactly what that means. No more vague directions, no more confusion about priorities. Let me tell you about Sarah. She runs a 40-person MSP in Phoenix. Before implementing this system, she was working 70-hour weeks, constantly playing traffic cop with tickets. Her team meetings were chaos. Everyone arguing about who should handle what, tickets getting lost, clients getting angry. 6 months after implementing the 3-board system with clear escalation criteria, she's working 40 hours a week. Her team meetings are 15 minutes long. And here's the kicker. Their client satisfaction scores went up by 35%. Why? Because when you have clear boards with clear criteria, you can actually manage your resources. Instead of having tickets that sit in limbo because nobody knows who should handle them, you have a system that puts the most appropriate work with the most appropriate team. This isn't just about tickets. This is about creating a business that can run without you constantly playing traffic cop. This is about getting to the next level where you're actually running a business, not just managing a mess. And here's something else nobody talks about. When your techs know exactly what they're responsible for, when they know exactly when to escalate and when to handle something themselves, their job satisfaction goes through the roof. They're not just stressed about making the wrong decision. They're not worried about getting yelled at for escalating too soon or too late. They just follow the process. I promise you, once you implement this, you're going to find things flow better. Your team is easier to manage, and you can actually focus on growing your business instead of just surviving each day. But if you do all of this, all of a sudden, you're going to realize something profound. You've been working in your business instead of on it. You've been so deep in the weeds that you couldn't see the forest for the trees. And now with a proper escalation system in place, you can finally step back and be the CEO your business needs. Now, if you're thinking, Manny, this makes perfect sense, but I need help implementing this in my specific MSP. That's exactly why we tackle this in the MSP Freedom Framework. Head over to mannypalachuk.com/MSP Playbook to see how we can build this entire operational system into your business so you can finally step back from the daily chaos. Look, you now understand why your escalation process has been defying physics. It's been trying to suck and blow at the same time without any clear criteria for flow. The 3-board framework with bidirectional criteria isn't just about fixing tickets. It's about creating the foundation for a business that can scale without you. But here's what most MSP owners miss. Even with perfect escalation processes, if your team doesn't have clear roles and responsibilities, you're still going to be stuck in the weeds. You need to know how to define accountability that actually sticks.